All right, so you're thinking about a career as a scenery technician. Well, we're about to take a deep dive into these RoleCatcher resources to help you get prepped for that big interview.
It's a fascinating field, blending those practical skills with an artistic eye.
Absolutely, and we've got a whole bunch of common interview questions here that RoleCatcher has identified.
Yeah.
We'll break down each one, how to answer them, what those tricky follow-up questions might be,
Right.
and of course, we'll sprinkle in those insights from RoleCatcher's career guide so you can really see what this career path could look like.
And don't forget about the AI. We'll touch on how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a leg up, especially with all these automated hiring systems out there.
Okay, let's jump right in. So first up, what experience do you have with stage construction? Now, you might be thinking, well, I haven't exactly built sets for Broadway.
Right.
That's okay. It's not about having this huge resume right off the bat.
Yeah, it's more about showing that you're passionate and you've got those core skills. Think about any projects where you built something, anything creative, even if it was a bookshelf or, you put together a little backyard stage for a family get-together.
Exactly. You're kind of connecting the dots for the interviewer,
Yeah.
showing them that even if it doesn't seem directly related, it shows you can learn, you can solve problems, and you can make a design come to life.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where RoleCatcher's AI can be a huge help. It can actually look at that specific job description and then, bam, suggest how to rephrase your experiences to match what they're looking for. Those keywords, those
Oh,
skills.
that's fantastic,
Yeah.
especially for applying online where you have those systems that could be really tough to get through.
Hmm.
Okay, next question. This one gets a bit more technical. What is your experience with rigging and fly systems?
Yeah, this one's important in scenery technology, and safety is absolutely crucial. You want to be upfront about your experience level. If you have any training or certifications, definitely highlight those. Mention what types of systems you're familiar with. Counterweight systems, motorized rigging, single purchase, double purchase. The more specifics you can give, the better.
Okay, so what if your experience in this area is kind of limited? Should you just try to avoid the question completely?
Oh, no, not at all. Even if you're new to rigging, really emphasize that you understand how important safety protocols are. You could say something like, I don't have a ton of hands-on experience with fly systems just yet, but I get how vital safety is, and I'm really eager to learn from those who know their stuff.
Yeah, I like that. It shows you're aware of the risks, that you value a safe environment. And that's huge in this line of work. They might follow up and ask about specific procedures you'd follow, or working at heights, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's a good point. And you know what? RoleCatcher can actually help you practice those follow-up questions. The AI can look at typical questions for this job and come up with potential follow-ups so you can be ready with your responses.
It's like having a peek inside the interviewer's head.
Right.
Okay, let's move on to a question that really gets at what it means to be a scenery technician. How do you handle unexpected technical problems during a performance? I mean, let's face it, things don't always go as planned, especially in live theater.
Oh, for sure. Live performance is all about adapting, thinking on your feet. They want to see that you can stay calm, find a solution, and of course, without sacrificing safety.
Right, so how do you even answer a question like that? Should you have, like, a specific story ready to go?
It always helps to have a real-life example. Think about a time when something went wrong. Maybe a set piece malfunctioned, a curtain jammed, a prop broke, anything. Describe how you figured out what was going on, communicated with the team, and came up with a solution.
Yeah, I see. It's not just about fixing it, it's showing how you approach problem solving. Staying organized, prioritizing, communicating clearly even when things are hectic.
Exactly. And, they might even ask, how would you prevent this from happening again? So think about what you learned and how you applied it to your work afterwards.
RoleCatcher also mentioned that it's important to showcase your teamwork skills when answering this question.
Right, absolutely. Theater is all about collaboration, so showing that you can work well with others is key. Talk about how you delegate tasks, how you listen to feedback, and how you make sure everyone feels heard and respected, even when things are stressful, those crunch times.
Okay, let's dive into a few more questions about technical skills that might come up, starting with lighting. What experience do you have with lighting design and operation? Now, I know that can seem like its own specialization, but
Right, but having at least some basic knowledge of lighting can make you stand out. Even if you're not a lighting designer, any experience you have is valuable. Maybe you've assisted with setting up lights, or helped with focusing, or even just understanding those basic lighting cues and terms.
yeah. And of course, if you've had formal training or taken classes, be sure to mention that. But if your experience is more casual, you can talk about your interest in lighting design and how you stay updated on current trends.
Exactly. Maybe you've played around with lighting for photography or videos, or you're just fascinated by how lighting can transform a stage and set the mood. It's about
Yeah.
that curiosity and wanting to learn.
Speaking of related areas, the next question is similar. What experience do you have with sound design and operation? Again, it's about showing that broader understanding of technical theater.
Uh-huh. So, just like with lighting, highlight anything you've done, even if it doesn't seem directly related. Maybe you ran sound for a band, helped set up microphones for a talk, or even just experimented with audio editing software.
And that ties back to what we were saying earlier about RoleCatcher's AI. It can help you make those connections between seemingly unrelated experiences and what's needed for a scenery technician role.
Exactly. It can suggest ways to present your background in a way that really clicks with what the employer's looking for. Even if you haven't done sound design specifically for theater, it's about showing that adaptability and willingness to learn.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit to a question that's all about handling the pressure of Tech Week. How do you prioritize and manage your workload during Tech Week? Now, for those who aren't familiar, Tech Week is that crazy period leading up to opening night where all the technical elements of a production come together.
It's rehearsals, set changes, lighting adjustments, sound checks. It's organized chaos, basically.
So how do you convince the interviewer that you can handle that demanding schedule and those ever-changing priorities of Tech Week?
It's all about those organizational skills and time management. Talk about how you prioritize tasks, make to-do lists, and use things like calendars or project management apps to keep everything on track.
The Role Catcher Guide also talks about how important it is to stay calm under pressure.
Yeah, because during Tech Week, things will inevitably go wrong. It's about rolling with the punches, problem solving, staying positive, even with deadlines looming.
It's good to share an example from your own experience about a time you juggled multiple deadlines or handled a complex project under pressure. And it doesn't even have to be from theater. It could be a previous job, a school project, even volunteering.
Exactly. It's all about those transferable skills. And don't forget communication. Tech Week is all about communication with the director, stage manager, fellow technicians. Communicating clearly, listening well, and working as a team is essential.
Now, let's talk about something that's becoming more and more common in theater. Projection design. You might get asked about it. What experience do you have with projection design and operation?
Yeah, projection mapping is such a cool way to create immersive visuals, really stunning experiences, and we're seeing it more and more. So if you've got any experience with design software like MadMapper, Isadora, QLab, or have worked on anything using projection, talk about it.
But what if this is a newer area for you?
Even without hands-on experience, you can still share your interest. Have you seen shows that use projection mapping in cool ways? Are you interested in the technology and what it can do creatively?
It's about showing that you're eager to learn and adapt to new things, and that's always valuable. Now let's get into something a bit more, shall we say, explosive special effects. The interviewer might ask, what experience do you have with special effects, like pyrotechnics or fog machines?
Oh yeah, safety is absolutely paramount when it comes to special effects. So if you've worked with them before, emphasize your attention to safety protocols and mention any relevant training or certifications you have.
Okay, but what if you're totally new to pyrotechnics?
You got to be honest. But you can still show that you're interested and ready to learn. Maybe you've researched different techniques or you're just fascinated by how they're used in movies and plays.
The key is to show that you're safety conscious and ready to grow your skills. Okay, last question before we take a broader look at the career path. How do you stay up to date with new technologies and techniques in theater production? This field changes so quickly. It's important to show that you're committed to learning and growing.
Absolutely. Mention any industry publications you read, online forums or groups you're in, workshops or conferences you've been to, online courses you've taken.
And don't forget about your own personal projects. If you've experimented with new software or hardware, or even tinkered with things like Arduino boards to make your own lighting effects, that all shows you're proactive.
It's all about showing that you're excited to stay ahead of the curve and embrace what's new. All right, so we've talked about the interview, those questions, but what about the actual career? What can you expect? Well, RoleCatcher's Career Guide gives us a great overview of where a scenery technician can go, that whole journey.
Yeah, they break it down into these different stages, starting with entry level, going all the way up to senior level. So let's take a look at each stage and what it involves.
Okay, so at the entry level, you're probably assisting those more experienced technicians, getting a feel for things, and really mastering those basic skills. The guide mentions a couple of certifications that could be helpful at this stage, like the OSHA 10-hour general industry. It shows you're committed to safety, which is super important.
Right. So it's about proving yourself, showing you're reliable, eager to learn, building that foundation.
Exactly, yeah. And then as you move up to intermediate, you're taking on more responsibility, maybe leading small teams, making sure those set changes happen smoothly, and even starting to tackle some specialized tasks.
They have an example in the guide, someone at this level who's become the go-to person for solving rigging problems.
No, that's cool. And they've gotten additional certifications too, like the ETCP Entertainment Electrician Certification. So it shows expertise in a specific area.
So you can start specializing as you get more experience. That's great. What about the advanced level? What kinds of roles and responsibilities do you see there?
At the advanced level, you might be in charge of entire set construction projects, making sure everything's built to the right standard, that everyone's working safely. You'd also be working closely with the road crew, making sure everything goes smoothly when loading in and out.
So leadership and communication skills are even more important at this point.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And in their example for this stage, they highlight someone who's mentoring new technicians, managing budgets, even working directly with the designers to make their vision a reality. And having a certification like the ETCP Rigger Arena, that could really set you apart, especially for rigging those complex systems.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've gone from assisting to leading. And now at the senior level, I imagine it's more about using your experience to guide and mentor others.
Absolutely. Senior level scenery technicians, they're often involved in the big picture planning, overseeing those complex productions, mentoring teams. They're the ones with the experience to see potential problems before they even happen.
The example they use for this stage is someone who works directly with production managers and designers, making sure the technical side meshes perfectly with the artistic vision.
Exactly. It just shows how far you can go in this career. But, RoleCatcher also acknowledges that every job has its ups and downs, so they don't shy away from the pros and cons of working in this field.
Right. They keep it real, which is great. So let's start with the good stuff. What are some of the most appealing things about being a scenery technician?
Well, I think for a lot of people, it's the mix of creative and technical. You're building things, problem solving, seeing your work come to life on stage. It's engaging, both physically and mentally.
And you're working with such a talented and passionate group of people, actors, directors, designers, other technicians. It's a real team effort.
Oh, for sure. And the guide lists artistic expression as a big pro, too. You're part of creating something beautiful and meaningful. And then there's the excitement of working in live entertainment.
But it's not all sunshine and roses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What are some of the downsides that people should consider?
They're pretty upfront about it being physically demanding, long hours on your feet, lifting heavy things, working nights and weekends sometimes.
And the entertainment industry, while it's expected to grow, can be tough to break into, depending on where you are.
Yeah, that's true. And there's the whole thing about irregular hours and deadlines, especially during Tech Week. It's not your typical 9 to 5.
I think that honesty is so valuable. It lets people really weigh the pros and cons and figure out if it's a good fit. Now, before we wrap up, let's circle back to RoleCatcher's AI and how it can help with applying for jobs and prepping for interviews.
Oh, it can be a total game changer. Remember those automated systems that scan resumes? Well, RoleCatcher's AI can help you tailor your application to match exactly what they're looking for.
So it's not just about using the right buzzwords, it's understanding what the AI is looking for and making sure your experience stands out.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just the application. They have AI-powered tools for interview practice, too. You can practice your answers, get feedback, and even analyze your body language.
So it's like having a virtual career coach.
Yeah, it's amazing.
All right, we're back, ready to wrap up our scenery technician deep dive. We've covered a lot: skills, career paths, even those potential downsides. But let's focus on one of the coolest things RoleCatcher has: those AI-powered interview prep tools.
These can really change how you approach the whole interview process, help you feel more confident. We talked about RoleCatcher's practice questions, but it's not just a random bunch of questions.
Yeah, way more targeted.
Exactly. They're organized by career path and specific skills, so you're practicing what's relevant for a scenery technician. And this is where the AI is amazing. It actually analyzes your answers, you get feedback, and it's not just right or wrong.
So it's not about memorizing, it's about understanding and really refining how you communicate.
Exactly, yeah. It might suggest how to rephrase something, sound more confident, highlight those skills they're looking for. It can even help you structure your answers better so you're hitting the key points without going off on a tangent.
That's incredible, that level of feedback.
Yeah.
But it gets even better. RoleCatcher also has this video practice feature.
Oh, yeah. This is where you can work on your interview presence. You record yourself answering questions, and the AI analyzes everything, your delivery, body language, even your eye contact.
It's like having an interview coach watching your every move.
It really is. And the feedback is super helpful. It might suggest things like adjusting your posture to project more confidence or using hand gestures to emphasize certain points.
Wow, it's amazing what technology can do. So with all of that, the practice questions, the feedback, the video analysis, you should be feeling pretty prepared and confident walking into that interview.
For sure. And that's the key, confidence. Remember, it's a two-way street. It's not just about proving yourself. It's also about making sure this is the right job for you. RoleCatcher gives you what you need to go into that interview as an equal, ready to have a real conversation about your skills and what you want to do.
So there you have it. A crash course in scenery technician interviews. You've got these awesome RoleCatcher resources. You're ready to step into that spotlight, or maybe behind it, in the world of theater. Any final thoughts for our listeners as they head out on this journey?
Yeah, just embrace the challenge. Stay curious. Never stop learning. Theater is always changing, so be adaptable, check out new technologies, and work on those soft skills, communication, teamwork, problem solving. That's what makes you valuable to any production.
And remember, a little nervousness is totally normal. Turn that energy into a great performance in that interview. Show your passion, your willingness to learn, your dedication to making sure things run smoothly behind the scenes.
Break a leg!